All right, good morning to the whole DFW and the whole country. This is Mornings with Mu'addib. I got my hot tea. I'm ready to break it down for you. So, what did we learn from Matias Reyes? Right, the guy that was the actual Central Park jogger rapist and really raped and murdered other women. What did we learn from him? Did law enforcement change policy after that situation? Today's show is a continuation with Mornings with Mu'addib, Taibu Mu'addib, um, PCS certified goal achievement coach and growth strategy expert. So what I do is I deal with individuals who have transitional and functional goals. I help them reach them through my proven EFC method. Now, this morning, I want to put up a lot of information on my screen about one guy, Matias Reyes. And if you don't know who that is, I want to introduce him to you because you need to see for yourself that we dropped the ball with that situation. We could have rolled that to the hilt, but we didn't. We didn't. And that's our fault, but it's okay. We're going to fix that today. All right. So I'm not really for sure how to pause this and fix this screen and whatever, but I do want to make sure that I get better at doing this. Enhance background. Okay. Do I get more? Okay. So let's look at this guy right here, Matias Reyes. What did we learn from that situation? With the advent of the Guard Me gear and my tech startup, uh, I aim to help women and children, largely the ones unprotected from sexual assault and domestic violence in our communities. I aim to help put a security tech wearable device on women and children that will help them avoid these situations by providing them with a response. A response that's not law enforcement, one that will let them down or will cause them harm as well. Just stand for what it is. Statistics are proving that nothing on the market right now can stop a guy like Matias Reyes. And he didn't even know his victims and he couldn't be stopped, right? So think about what if this happens by someone that you do know, a forcible rape by somebody that you do know. It's almost virtually impossible until Guard Me gear, until I invented a security tech wearable that will give everybody the response they deserve. All right. So Taibu Mu'addib, I'm inviting anybody to come on to the show. Let me get close to my mic so my folks over here can hear me. Everybody can come on to the show to talk about their personal experiences. I can invite you on TikTok or here over here on my StreamYard page. So you get the full. What's important to note about this guy, Matias Reyes? What's important to note is he murdered and raped victims and other people, namely the Central Park Five, went down for at least one of his crimes. We don't know at this point if they were the only ones to get wrongfully convicted of a crime that he committed. We just know that he raped and murdered multiple women and was free to do so for lack of what's called police investigation. Now, don't get me wrong, the police can't solve everything. That's why we need Guard Me gear. Don't get me wrong, the police can't be everywhere. That's why we need Guard Me gear. But still, let's go deep into the psyche of sex abusers like Matias Reyes. All right. So I'm going to first start you guys from the beginning. And remember, come over here to Taibu Mu'addib 4019. If you want to go to YouTube to see the full picture in picture effects of what I'm teaching, Just go to YouTube at Taibu Mu'addib 4019. Put it here in the comment section for you guys and gals, just so you know where the funk is at. And please go subscribe real quick so I can get to 1,000 and begin to give you guys a real show. All right. Bam. So I pinned this comment up here for about a minute. The best thing that I can do is just screenshot that. Looking back at the 1989 Central Park jogger rape case that led to 5 teens' convictions that were later vacated. That's what the heading for this says. All right. And we can't talk enough about this story because it ruined the lives of 4 young men. One of them as young as 14. One who was just old enough to get put in the adult prison system, and he was taken advantage of himself, among other brutalities, for about 15 years. And I'm not talking about just scared and pushed around or locked away in isolation. I'm talking about he was beaten to inches of his life more than once, because that's how they treat, still to this day, men who are convicted of rape in the prison system. It's not fair. It just is what it is. Taibu Mu'addib. So I'll get to local news issues and sports in a minute, but let me teach you guys and gals something. So the city of New York was already seething with cultural bias and socio-economic tensions in April 1989, when calls began coming in that a group of Black and Hispanic teenagers were terrorizing people in Central Park. All right.
Power off.
Sorry about that, y'all. Got to get it going.
Power on.
All right. Taibu Mu'addib right here. Let's go with the round of applause. That's not what it is. I need the applause. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for putting this on. Let me get my box here where I can see it. All right. All right. There we go. So we got pause. We got laughter. Make sure I can see these things. All right. So people benefited and profited financially and their careers off the Central Park 5 jogger case. All right. But I want to get to the part where it talks about, okay, so it was really at first about young folks getting, a little buck wild in the park, having teen fun, doing some stuff, razzing some folks, nothing really serious. If anything, some misdemeanor type stuff going on, and only a few of the teens were really involved in that. The larger crowd was just having a good time kicking with each other. While the police were there, a woman's body was found. The body of a European lady. And the police investigation changed. It changed from just, rounding up a couple of teens and just clearing the park out to, dealing with this rape and sexual assault. So, the lady, her name is Trisha Melly, was in a coma for a week. She had, deep skull. She was beaten to within, inches of her life. And so 3 young men were taken into custody, and they picked up 2 other men later on. Of course, we all know they were all convicted after the fact. So let me get down now to the part where we're talking about. There we go. So Now we have the same image up, the image of Matias Reyes, a young Puerto Rican gentleman that just wanted to rape women. That's what he was about. Okay. And so after they were convicted, you had Matias Reyes come into the fray, and he admitted to one of the gentlemen that were locked up. It says he had met Wise earlier when they were both at New York Rikers Island. He said, this is his own words, the guy on the picture. When I first heard that they got the matching DNA with Reyes, I was like, no, this is Reynolds. Okay, it's somebody else. Reyes was given information about the crime. I want to get this right. Okay, here it is. I was alone that night. Anytime I went out to do any of my crimes, I was alone. So he's given information, obviously privileged information on stuff only he could know. That's what made his confession stick, and they did a DNA match on him, and that's what freed their brothers. All right. So the convictions were vacated, but the police and conspiracy theorists believe that the Central Park Five actually did do it as a group with Reyes involved. So the police, they never ever really capitulated and said, yeah, we messed up. Okay. They just, it says, now this guy Reynolds says they perpetuated this lie. They created this myth of these kids that were railroaded, and that never happened. Right. So I did that to start the conversation off. So I want to know from you guys and gals, what do you believe? Right? What do you believe? Do you believe that Reyes acted alone, or do you believe that he actually was in conjunction with those kids, and then he just ended up linking up with them and helping them escape their sentences because he had a moment of altruism? I'll tell you what I believe. I believe the New York, the police department dropped the ball. And I'm going to show you how deep that was. So there was still a victim. Trisha Melly was still raped and almost murdered by someone that had already murdered women and raped them. So I'm going to take you to an article about his other victims. This is important to note because Matias Reyes continued to rape after the Central Park Five was wrongfully convicted. So, law and order, okay, if somebody's a serial rapist, you want to get them off the streets so other people aren't raped. And that's the main goal of the Guard Me gear, personal security tech wearable. Now, if you didn't know about the fundraiser, now you do. My company is a startup. We're raising $150,000. We're already underway. People are already donating. I'm asking $5 and that you share the link. All right. Let's get that link in there for you guys and gals, shall we? Okay. Because it's important for you to have it. It's important for you to have it. All right. So I'm going to copy this link and put it right in here for you. Here we go. So you guys have it. I appreciate all your likes and screen tapping. So if you want to donate to the end of sexual and domestic violence, this is where you go. This is where you go. Bam. And that's what it is. So I'm gonna pin that comment up there. Couldn't pin it. Try it again. All right. So I just want you to know that I'm doing this for largely the people who are unprotected in our communities. I want you to know that this is a deal. Now, this article in the cut is deep, y'all. It's deep. It says the jogger survivors of the real Central Park 5 attacker speak for the first time. So the ones that lived, like Trisha Melly, all messed up probably because he really was trying to kill each and every one of them, right? But the ones that survive, they speak for the first time, or their next of kin. It's a deep article. I'm sharing it over here on YouTube. Just want you guys to know. Now, this article says 30 years ago, the attempted murder, rape, and assault of the woman, still more commonly known today by her tabloid name, the Central Park Jogger, brought together real and imagined fears of New York City into an unholy cocktail of outrage, blame, and recrimination. All right. Let's go a little bit deeper. A little bit deeper. All right. Antron McCrae, Kevin Richardson, Yusef Salam, Raymond Santana, and Corey Wise were charged and convicted for her rape and near murder. That changed when the New York Supreme Court vacated the convictions of the five, acting upon recommendation of the district attorney's office. Earlier that year, a serial rapist named Matias Reyes had admitted that he alone was the rapist in that park. He had preyed upon women during a year-long campaign of terror all along the Upper East Side, a case covered in fits and starts by the media, which was ready to move on to the next story, even after his arrest as a serial rapist and murderer. All right. So the public reckoning almost always centered on the injustice of the five men who were innocent boys and whose lives were destroyed by shoddy police work and systemic cultural bias. Less examined are the other lives destroyed by the case. Reyes's many victims who waited so long for justice, some who might not have been victims at all, but for law enforcement's staunch belief it had the right assailants. This wasn't about one young European affluent woman raped while jogging, but about 9 other young women all around the Upper East Side. So the man who attacked the Central Park jogger was a serial rapist and murderer who struck before and after. Okay, Taibu Mu'addib, you're going kind of slow with us. But you needed to get the background. You needed to get the background. If you look at this guy, he looks like a boy himself, very young, unassuming. You know, he doesn't look, quote unquote, like the threat that he was to all these women. I mean, they may have seen him coming and didn't even think, oh, he's going to try to brutally rape and murder me. Just look at the guy. The police are, have him bookmarked in the middle. It's this guy right here. And I wanted to make it known that most of the people who are raped, I say most of them, by a large number, many sexual assault victims and domestic violence victims do not report being hit or raped or attacked. Do not. I can't state that enough. So I want you guys to understand that after the police got it wrong, sensationally wrong, he continued to sexually assault women. And this wasn't like grabbing someone, Hollywood movie style by both her hands and forcing, his hand, using one hand to hold her hands. And it wasn't anything like that. So if you have a weak constitution or you have children around, you don't want them that this is all right. You're going to get real. This public knowledge though. So somebody described um let's look at I want to see if I have the name right. And with respect to all the um the victims of him, I just want to bring this out because we can end this, people. We can end this. We can catch each one in time every time. We can prevent the majority. Instead of majority of people not being reported, we can prevent the majority of it from happening with the Guard Me gear. So please donate. All right. Let me get y'all that again. Let me get to you again. Regarding the Guard Me gear fundraiser, let me get in the comments section to donate. I'm gonna copy that. That way I can just keep throwing it in here for you guys and gals that continue to jump in here. All right. Let's go. Donate to the Guard Me gear. Go there and donate your money now. We can end this. It says that uh Tony Serrano heard a knock at the door. He and Khalils were watching TV and they were playing with boxes of Legos. Lourdes, the woman he regarded as his mom, was in the kitchen. Lourdes told Tony to see who it was. Tony opened the door. So the woman told Tony to see who it was. He's a kid, so he's too young to look through the peephole. He just opens the door. Back in those days, that's how you did it. He opened the door. There was a man with light skin, hair short, wearing dark blue pants and white sneakers. He said he wanted to know if the superintendent was around. Tony told the man that the super, his father, wasn't here. The man barged in. Tony said he was too big to stop him. Lourdes came out of the kitchen. She picked up the baby and handed her to the boys, telling them to go in the bedroom and lock the door. Tony's mom was a tiny 5'1", about 100 pounds. Lourdes put up a struggle, but the man was too much. The next 5 minutes passed in agony. I didn't hear nothing. My mother closed the door. He did, however, hear the man's main threat. I'll take your eyes or take your kids. All right. They didn't hear, obviously, Matias Reyes committing the act of sexual assault. When he fled, they opened the door and discovered her there and called 911. So she didn't make it, right? By the time she was drove to St. Louis Hospital, it was too late. She would live just 2 more hours, and then she passed on. So she couldn't provide any details on Matias Reyes. This is what the Guard Me Gear personal security tech wearable device will do. It will collect evidence right then and there as soon as it's activated. So this guy may have been successful, and I'll talk about that in a minute, may have been successful with committing the act of rape, but he wouldn't have gotten away with it at all. We would have had enough information at the company, notify authorities, and he would have been apprehended and jailed for good. Tougher laws are coming for sexual assault and domestic violence because of Guard Me Gear and the fact that we're getting the right people. So we don't have to be afraid of wrongfully convicting somebody overly harsh. 9 months before Lourdes was passed at the hands of Matias Reyes, Jackie Herbach was on her lunch break. All right. She was 27, engaged to be married. She had errands to run during her lunch hour. All right. So she went to church to pray. She was on her break. She didn't notice the man entered the chapel. So she's praying at church on her lunch break when he approached her. So no institution is safe from the sexual assaulting that's happening to primarily women and children. He was polite, you know. She didn't work at the church. He nodded, walked up the aisle. She gathered her things to go. That's when someone grabbed her from behind, one hand over her mouth, told her to shut up, not to scream, that he had a weapon. I was always rather street savvy, being careful, not doing where something could happen to me. But she didn't believe at 2 in the afternoon in the church something bad could happen to her. So she didn't bring somebody with her. She wasn't on her quote unquote P's and Q's. Matias forced her down a flight of stairs. He robbed her first, and then he went ballistic, right? Because she tried to keep one ring that her mom had given her. So he began to bang her head on the floor and strangle her. She's in the church basement. She's 27. She was out for less than a minute. When she came to, she was kneeling on the floor, the man looming over her. He told her to take off her stuff, and then he said, I'm going to basically do this and that to you. I'm going to sexually assault you. So she tried to use her mind, and she told him, I have an infection. You don't want to catch this. She didn't, but the ruse worked. I don't want your body. Forget it. He told her to lie down and took her stuff off. She waited less than a minute. She checked. He had left. So her wits about her kept her from being raped and murdered, just robbed. Two days before the attack on Trisha Melly, a woman was doing Tai Chi. 26, a man approached her, made her uncomfortable. She tried to walk away. He attacked her, tearing off her clothes and starting
Power off.
to take advantage of her. Sorry about that. If I don't use this thing, it'll turn off.
Power on.
All right. So I have to use this thing or to turn off, right? So I have to, read this, get this out, everybody. This is important. So when the police came, the attacker did not leave behind any DNA. The victim, she could only identify the attacker as Hispanic, but he found the man fitting the description, had been given stitches. The man's name was Matias Reyes. So at St. Luke's Hospital, sex crimes detectives interviewed her, and she not only identified her attacker as Hispanic, but called attention to the fresh stitches on his chin. When the detective checked local hospital records, he found that a man fitting the description had been given stitches. The man was Matias Reyes. The detective assigned to the case was transferred to a different unit. The unsolved case was closed within months. Reyes was never brought in for questioning. Never. So 3 to 4 women in, they knew who he was, but because of a transfer of duties, Matias Reyes became simply a file. Right? So her scream alarmed a man close, and Reyes ran off, but he was able to be identified, and he became a file. The police did not and this is the tough part for you ladies, I understand. She was attacked, almost raped, and when she reported it, the police did nothing. That's why the guard me gear is necessary. So go donate. So that when women are brave enough to speak out, children brave enough to speak out, that we can go get them. Go get them. Speak out by using your guard me gear. Get the response that you need. This, trust me, by the statistics, this hasn't changed. This hasn't changed. Don't think it's like in the movies where you call the police, they go get the bad guy. It's not like that. It's a process that largely goes unfulfilled. So this was 2 days before Trisha Melly was attacked. They knew who he was and they didn't go get him. He became a file on the desk that was never opened again. Right? We're going to call this person Melissa. This is after Trisha Melly. Right? Didn't care much for the men in her area. She grew up in New York. The aggressive catcalls and hassling, irritated her. She spent all Sunday outside in Central Park. She arrived home around 6. She doesn't remember why, but she set out some papers. She turned on 60 Minutes. She was told in a great mood. Her buzzer sounded, but not once, but several times. She asked who it was. He said he was the son of a building superintendent, so she let him up. It's a plausible story, right? Only when it was too far too late did she wonder, if he was the super son, why didn't he have a key? So he's young, unassuming, but he understands how to get these women alone, catch these women alone. That's a very important part of my invention. So proximity and time. As I'm reading these situations from this guy behind me, Matias Reyes, you see him. He has to have proximity to these intended victims and time to commit the act and time to get away, because clearly he wants to continue doing it. He did continue doing it. I just read off one situation where she screamed and a man came to help her, so he fled. Why did he leave? Why did he just continue? Because they don't want to be caught people. They want to continue to hurt people. They want to continue to commit this crime. You have to go, you guys and gals have to go look at the business model. It's a YouTube video. Don't just take my word for it. It's a YouTube video that breaks down how, had the guard me gear been available for this person we are naming Melissa, it would have never happened. He wouldn't have got anywhere near that far. First time, every time, guard me gear. Let's go. Over the next 2 hours, he sexually assaulted her 3 times. Used a kitchen knife to slash about her eyes. He just went crazy on her. He left her there to die. She had stab wounds on her. It's crazy. She blacked out. She didn't know how she ended up at her boyfriend's house. A few days after the attack, they went for a walk. They were broadcasting Lourdes Gonzalez's picture and describing it. And she said, OMG, that's him. So I could go on and on. I'm not. Before and after, this man was able to commit these acts because we didn't have the guard me gear. All right. Guard me gear and this broadcast is mornings being brought to you courtesy of First Step Coaching. As a goal achievement coach, I'm all about winning strategies. Donating into the guard me gear is simply a winning strategy, people. It's simply a winning strategy. It's the only way to win and combat this. It is. It's a tech startup. We have to get this thing manufactured and delivered to largely men, women, and children who are largely unprotected from sexual assault and domestic violence. We have to get it to y'all. I'm gonna continue. Got to. It gets deeper. You think it doesn't? So when you go into the mind of sexual abusers, you go to the mind into their minds. Let's look at it. Go to settings. How did I do that before? I don't know how. Oh, there we go. Oops. Bam. Try to enhance this again. Background again. All right. Here we go. All right. So you want to stop. You want to stop these things from happening. So donate. All right. So in the mind of a sexual predator, what's going on in their heads? Why do they want to do this? Right? Because victims are always being raped or being attacked. Domestic violence victims are always being hit and strangled. And they're wondering why these things are going on. On the sex side, another type of cognitive distortion common among sexual offenders is a sense of entitlement, which involves the belief that the need to offend is more important than negative consequences experienced by the victim. So their desire to commit these acts in their minds is greater than what might happen to you when they do. It's deep. Listen to me. We need the guard me gear. We need it. Let me screen share this because it's important. I want you guys and gals to get it. I'm teaching you guys something. Winning strategies. A winning strategy is definitely to donate into the guard me gear. I'm going to spend some time on this so I can move forward, right? You have to look this up and do your research. The beliefs of sexual predators, how to expose them, what causes someone to sexually, you have to dig deep into it. I want you guys and gals to know I did my research. And many of Matias Reyes' victims, they just, like the lady said, she didn't think it happened to her in the church, so she felt safe, and then it happened to her. All right. We go a little bit deeper. Let's bring this up. So we just learned that they want to do this and they don't really care about the effects it has on their victims. Going deeper into it, it says to avoid detection, abusers will engage with their victims on anonymous messaging apps, through text messaging, or on live streaming sites. They've been known to engage with victims on the following platforms, right? So this is where grooming becomes an issue, right? So let's look and see. I can ask. It says, how do sexual predators act when confronted? Upon being confronted about their conduct, the perpetrator is likely to embellish or falsify information, potentially leading the victim to believe that they are at fault. Boom. So this is why the guard me gear is going to be largely effective, because when you activate your device, it's known that they're not going to become violent because they believe they can talk their way out of the situation. So much so that I can talk to you if you say, Taibu Mu'addib, why are you doing that? Stop it. And I say, oh, it was this person, they were doing it to me. That's the whole thing. Many of you didn't even know that when it comes to the judicial system, that adults are believed over children. You guys and gals didn't know that, did you? When it comes to the judicial system, by far, the adults are believed over children. If you didn't know that, now you do. And how we can fix it is to get this thing done. All right. One more time before I move on. We have his picture up there, and we're going to go for it. going to continue to put this in the comment section. There it is. So the police can't cover everybody and everything. The guard me gear by training and qualifying our certified responders to get out there and get you the response that you need. When they confront these perpetrators, they're going to just try to talk their way out of it. So we're helping people out of danger, and we're not, when the help comes, we're not sending them to danger, because it says right here, statistics prove that when confronted about their conduct, they're likely to embellish or falsify information, potentially leading to the victim to believe that they're at fault. It's common for predators to continually emphasize their own feelings as a part of their attempt to make the victim feel guilty. Stop the share. Stop the share. Stop the madness. Stop the nonsense. All right. So, what are we going to do? What are we going to do about it, people? Are we going to get this thing done? Talk to me. Or are we going to continue to let guys like this, before and after, continue to commit these crimes? I can sit online and talk to you about what's not important. I'd rather talk about something that we can get done. The fact that we're not discussing it is why it continues to happen, people. So you're all enablers of men like this to continue to sexually assault and commit acts of domestic violence in our communities. Donate now. All right. All right, let's go. Moving on. Moving along. All right. Let's get it done. All right. Let's talk about something fun. Taibu Mu'addib is putting on a webinar all about growth strategy. Growth strategy. Let's go. This is what we're doing. Okay. So I want everybody to consider that we're not putting a large enough effort into taking care of certain things. That's where it starts for me. Effort, focus, and commitment. And tomorrow night at 7 p.m., you guys can go. The link is up in here. I'm gonna put the link in here. You gals can go. You can definitely take advantage of the opportunity to come to the webinar. It's important. Don't miss it. Do I have? Okay, I was getting ready to say. I'm gonna copy this link for the webinar on here. Let me get this link in here for you guys and gals. Follow this link, copy and paste this link. Register for the webinar. Why should we do that, Taibu Mu'addib? Because I'm not just gonna give you my secrets for staying motivated. No. I'm going to, in a short 45 minutes, and then time for a Q&A, but in a short time, I'm going to break down for you my secret for staying motivated, but how I use that secret to create a method to increase my level of effort, focus, and commitment to lead to the success that you see today. Embrace and enjoy the process. The online goal webinar series. GOAL stands for go only after learning. Talk to us, Taibu. Talk to us. All right. Many of you are going without learning. Many of you take an ideal and try to build it into fruition, but you haven't added any knowledge or skill sets. How can you be successful uh, doing pop-up shops? How can you be successful podcasting? How can you be successful selling a product or a service if you can't compete in that industry? How can you get your body in shape? How can you lose weight or get in the shape that you want to be and reach your goal if you don't learn the ins and outs of working out, the proper equipment to use, if you don't develop a different belief system about your life and your life cycle. So many of you go before you learn, and then when you fail, now you're like, see, I shouldn't have tried that. I knew it wasn't going to work. And you double down on staying the same. You even begin to make people around you miserable. And they'll say, why don't you go and try it again? And you're like, oh man, it didn't work the first time. And now folks is just laughing at you when you should be hearing an applause. All right. When you go without learning, it's what? You become a laughing stock. When you go only after you learn, you hear the applause of a job well done. All right. This is where it's at. So that's coming up tomorrow night. I'll do the post. If you haven't seen my post where I basically, I put out a pretty decent little movie. If you haven't seen the post, then I'm gonna hook you guys up, guys and gals up. I'm gonna hook y'all up. Let me go over here and get this so y'all can see this video. I want y'all to experience it with me. Let's go. See if I can make this pop. Yeah, there it is. There it is. There it is. Swear y'all, I'm getting better at using this joint. Let's go, Taibu. I'm gonna screen share this. Oh, it took over the whole screen. I like that. Let me screen share this promo. I'm gonna turn this camera around so y'all can see it. I'm gonna post this and keep posting it. I'm gonna get y'all this live promo real quick. Let me get y'all this demonstration right here. I'm gonna flip this camera for y'all real quick. Bam, flip it. Flip the camera. Oh no. Gotta take the effects off. Sorry about that. Gotta take the effects off. There it is. There it is. Let's go. What? Let me tell you the things that couldn't stop me. The things that got in my way but couldn't stop me. Many of you are letting things stop you. Let's talk about what couldn't stop me. Get this. I want you to get this. Some of you are going through things right now and you're letting it stop you. Yes, sir. Don't let it stop you, baby. Poverty couldn't stop me. It had a hold on me, a grasp on me, but it couldn't stop me. Pain couldn't stop me. I was beaten. I was broken. But pain didn't stop me. It couldn't stop me. Prison. I've been in there in jail since I was 12 years old. Locked facilities, group homes, foster homes, boys' homes. As an adult, prison in 3 different states, even incarceration could not stop me. I was rejected, betrayed, used, manipulated. I was lied to and I was lied on. Misused and abused. It couldn't stop. That's deep. I can't give that a whole funk. I gotta wait till the video come out. That's the whole. I can't give y'all the whole funk. Go check that video out, man. Go subscribe. Get that in you. I'm telling you right now. Taibu Mu'addib. I don't play no games. It is what it is. Doing my thing this morning. I'm telling y'all. I got y'all. I'm lining y'all up for something awesome. I'm lining you up for something awesome. Do not miss this webinar tomorrow night. Register. Begin investing in yourself. Copy and paste that link into your browser. Go and register. This is why you need it. This is why you need it. If you're ready for your one-on-one coaching opportunity with yours truly, go to calendly.com/HBN Press. Calendly.com/Coach Taibu. Sorry. My first one. In other news, the border crisis. Wow. What's going on at the border? Well, all I can say is a lot. It's a lot going on at the border, everybody. And I want you to make sure that you keep your ear to the streets because I don't want to be the one to act like, oh, people can't get into America. It's a process. It's a process, you know. We have to be born. It's if we're gonna do things and have law and order, people that want to come into this country go through the process. Just coming here and saying, "Hey, we seek asylum," that's like, okay, that's like, let me give you a good analogy. If a homeless person followed you into your house behind you when you carrying the groceries in, you get the door open, homeless person come in and sit on your couch, and you're like, what are you doing? And the homeless person says, I'm seeking asylum. I don't want to be on the streets anymore. I want to be in your home because it's more comfortable. It's a better living environment for me. And then you call the police and they come and say, well, he's here already. Just make some room for him in your basement or something. That's what illegal immigrants are doing in America. And I'm not against them coming to America. I'm against how they're doing it. If you don't think my analogy is appropriate, think about it. Go look and see what's happening. Go look and see what's happening. Because it has to stop. It has to stop. They should have to. The people that want to come to this country should go through the process like everybody else. America is our home. So if someone comes into your home and they just squat and they just say, well, I don't have to, and then the government comes in and says, hey, just find a place for them. That's not how it's done. It has to be a process. Literally, if someone followed you, if a homeless person, just decide they don't want to be homeless no more, and they follow you into your home and sit on your couch, and you can't call the police and the police remove them, they say make room for them. That's what's happening at the border. I can't make it any more plain. All right. For today's, are we waking up? So I'm conscious. There's stuff still happening in this country that is mind-boggling. Let's check out this remix TikTok.
A black toddler was handcuffed and fingerprinted by a white peer in a Florida preschool. The arrest was part of a Rosa Parks reenactment, supposedly teaching the kids about how the activist refused to give up her seat on a segregated.
In nature.
I'm trying to find my what? There it is. Man, let's try it again.
A black toddler was handcuffed and fingerprinted by a white peer in a Florida preschool. The arrest was part of a Rosa Parks.
You guys have to see this. I'm telling you, subscribe. Taibu Mu'addib. I'm giving y'all the phone. A Florida teacher has a European toddler arresting a little sister. I'm a girl dad, not my children. It's what is going on. There's nothing okay about this at all. When they talk about systemic racism, I just did a podcast and let all African people know Europeans, not all of them, but enough of them are teaching their young children to be culturally biased against us, to see us all as criminals. How can this not last a lifetime for this young European boy and this young sister? Are we waking up, people? Are we waking up? Are we progressing as a society? You guys let me know. Lastly, a big shout out, man, to the teams that won. If your team won, I gotta get this thing to sit up. I gotta sit this thing up. Yeah, that's what it is. The whole time it was laying down flat, so I can't read the words. There it is. All right, as I can see them. A big shout out if your team won. Look, Brock Purdy outrushed Lamar Jackson to get his team to advance. So it makes you wonder, and people say, oh, it's fixed. Nah. Lamar Jackson's making more than Brock Purdy. Lamar Jackson's older than Brock Purdy. So Lamar Jackson is putting less risk on them legs and on that body. So to the Baltimore Ravens faithful, Tori, this includes you. I know you're listening. How do you feel? How does it feel to see Brock Purdy rush for almost 100 yards? How does it feel to see Brock Purdy rush for almost 100 yards to get his team to the Super Bowl, and Lamar Jackson took off for 20 yards and never used his legs again? Bro, 20 yards a rush? Come on, man. The number one rushing team in the league. That's what you need in the playoffs. They're trying to drop back pass. They didn't do their research. It wasn't a winning strategy. Taibu Mu'addib first kept step coaching doesn't approve their game plan. I don't approve their game plan at all. What was John Harbaugh thinking? Well, I know he's thinking now. I should have told Lamar, run. Y'all know it's in that. Y'all know it's in the middle of that. I wish you had told that boy. If you want the ring, you got to add more effort. Lamar Jackson, for all his skills and talent, what got them there wasn't his. What